everyone, I'm Natasha, and today I'm going to be talking about the books that have made me cry the most. If you were to go and ask my mother right now, or any of my family members, they would say that I am not a crier. I don't really like crying in front of people. But when it comes to my own personal space and I'm alone, I will just let the tears flow. And this especially relates to books, because usually that's just like a one-person activity. It's just you and the pages. I feel a lot of the feels for TV shows, but usually I'm downstairs with my family and I try to hold back. Or when I go see a movie, you know, there's hundreds of people in the theater. When it does come to books, oh gosh, it's ugly, guys. I love feeling those emotions, and like especially when it's a good cry and you're feeling it and it's just a really good release. Does anyone else do this? When they start crying, they kind of like latch on to a certain phrase or a vivid image that will make you cry, and you just like keep replaying it so that you're like still like in the feeling. I've been wanting to talk about books that make me cry for a really long time. Ever since Christine did that Cry Me a River book video, I'm like, I have stories to tell too. But this video has really come about because of the Me Before You movie, which is out in theaters. I saw opening night and I loved the book. I didn't cry as hard in the theater because, you know, you're in public instead of like in private, but I still cried. It was still so good, so like emotionally satisfying. Pink and Random House also sent me a big old box to unbox. There's some goodies in here and some other books, cry-worthy books in there that I can't wait to read. But let's start off with the books that have made me cry. I'm gonna be rating books on how much I've cried in them with the fangirl emoji. This is the emoji that I made, and it's heart eyes and cry face at the same time. So I'm gonna rate the books out of 5 fangirl emojis. 1 being not so much cry, but maybe little tears, and 5 being full blown out ugly snot mascara all over your face. Throwing it back to New Moon. This was the first book that I ever sobbed in. Guys, do you remember? Don't you remember the reason you left me? Edward, you left me in this book. I read Twilight in 2008, the Christmas after the movie came out. I marathoned all of the books during my Christmas break from school. Twilight was the first series that I ever loved to read. It got me into reading. I would say New Moon would be the first book that I ever cried in. I never knew heartbreak before New Moon. I had never had a boyfriend. I'd never had anything really tragic happen in my life before I read New Moon, which just sounds so ridiculous. I've had lots of tragedies since then, but this was like the first because Edward freaking left. Twilight, hunky-dory, it all ended well, and you get into like, you know, the first chapter, and then like they're coming out of summertime, and I remember being like, I want to see Edward and Bella in the summer, like why didn't Stephanie Meyer put that in? The birthday scene happened and he left her, and it was just so pathetic. I was listening to Evanescence at the time. The song My Immortal came on, and I was sitting downstairs in my family room with my mom, my dad, and my brother, and we were all just kind of having quiet time, and I had to get up off the couch. I walked out of the family room and I'm on the verge of tears, and my mom looks up and she's like, "What's wrong, honey?" And I collapsed. I fell into her lap and I'm like, "Mom, Edward's gone. He left Bella." And I will never ever forget that for the rest of my life. My mom cradled me like I was a baby, and I was like 14 years old, and I was just weeping for a fictional character. And then this part with the months, October, November. Oh gosh, guys, do you remember that? New Moon, I'd have to give a 5 out of 5 fangirl emojis. These next 2 books I don't have like a story, but I know I cried. I'm just gonna put them together, and that's Clockwork Princess and City of Heavenly Fire, which is like at the bottom of my moral instrument stack. When you take a series and you kind of go through the character's life at the very end of a novel and then bring that character up in the last book in the original series, yeah, that just creates all the tears. I love and I hate that we see the end of characters' lives in books, because then there's like nothing left up to the imagination. I really do enjoy it when we just know that they're happy at the end. I don't want to know when they die. That's so sad. That's just life, and it's sad that we know that they die, but to actually have to read it in a book is just, oh. If you guys have read the book, you know who I'm talking about, right? For Clockwork Princess and City of Heavenly Fire, I would give it like a 3 out of 5 fangirl emojis. Next, I have a Nicholas Sparks book, and that is Dear John. This was the first Nicholas Sparks book I ever read. The movie came out around New Moon and Eclipse time. This was like my fresh reading age in high school, and I was obsessed with book to movie adaptations. In all of Nicholas Sparks books, someone always dies. Spoiler! There's a parent death in this one. During the time when I was reading this, my father was in and out of the hospital, and my father passed away 3 years ago now. This book was just amplifying all of my feelings about that. I remember this cry because it was just a like self-pity cry. Dear John, I would have to give another 3 out of 5 fangirl emojis for the crying. This next book is another end to a trilogy, and it is Morningstar by Pierce Brown. I just recently finished this about like 2 months ago. This is the finale to a trilogy. You're gonna cry because there's gonna be a lot of deaths. I mean, there's a lot of deaths in the Red Rising trilogy. This one I was actually crying for other characters that weren't the main characters, and like a lot of the side characters, and even the villain. There was just there were spurts of tears throughout this book. I would give this a 2 out of 5 fangirl emojis for the crying level, just because I actually cried in my review. So I don't actually own this next book. I never bought it. I didn't realize that I never purchased it. I read it as an ebook, but I never actually purchased a physical copy, and it's Allegiant by Veronica Roth. I think you all know what happens in this book. I mean, there's been several people who have spoiled it, and including my own videos. When I read this book, I remember I did not want to read it. I knew something tragic happened, and I was not in the mood to cry. I put it off for about a month or 2. I wasn't spoiled. I just knew there was a main character death at the end. I didn't know who it was. Reading Allegiant, it took me about like 3 weeks to finish it, and I just remember one late night, I think even the sun came up, I finished it, and I was here in my bed, and oh gosh, the tears were just flowing freely. If you didn't cry in Allegiant, let me know, because I feel like we all did. I would give the Allegiant cry a 4 out of 5 fangirl emojis. Yeah, it was pretty ugly, but I wasn't wearing makeup, so it wasn't like super ugly. This next book is another throwback. It is Kissed by an Angel. The author is Elizabeth Chandler. This book was a recommendation by my best friend, Abby. It was during that time we all faced after finishing Twilight. What other book are we going to read next? If you've never even heard about this, there's 3 books in one. This is not a spoiler, but the main character, her boyfriend, dies. He comes back as like a ghost angel type of deal. He's watching over his girlfriend as she lives her life. The main character also plays classical music, so I had the classical music that she was playing in the book like in my ear when I was reading it, and every time I hear Moonlight Sonata, it makes me think of this. I was reading the book. I don't know if I was finishing it or not. I was in bed. It was like a school morning, and everyone's getting ready to leave the house. I'm just sitting there like bawling my eyes out. And my twin brother opens the door. He's like, "Come on, Tasha, we have to leave." And I'm just like, and he just like looked at me and rolls his eyes, and he's like, "You're pathetic." Kiss by an Angel, I would have to give a 4 out of 5 fangirl emoji. I've saved the biggest cries for last, and that is Dragonfly and Amber by Diana Gabaldon. This book was it was the most jarring experience reading this book. I had no idea that the Outlander characters aged 40 years in the series, and that time jump happened in the second book. Not like 40 years, but it jumped about 18 years. I was not ready for that because I am so emotionally enveloped into Jamie and Claire's relationship. When you have the whole aspect of time travel, everything is just finicky. This was the book that made me cry the most until I read Me Before You. Even watching the show, I'm terrified to actually finish the show because there's so many like emotional attachments that I have still. Like, I read this book about 2 years ago now. I can't even believe it's almost been 2 years. I never felt anything like this with two fictional characters. Like, how can a book make you feel these emotions? And even like just thinking about it right now, I just want to cry. This is definitely a 5 out of 5 for the fangirl crying emoji level. Now, it's time to unbox this box from Penguin Random House. Look at it. Open. Ooh, there's another box inside of it. Okay, hold on. Wow. Wow, I've never received something like this before. There's a bow. This is, thank you, Penguin. Penguin has actually sponsored this video. They've sent me a box with things that I should cry over. Oh my gosh, look at it. I need to save this. This is definitely paper that you save. I'm a housewife in disguise. Do I cry over this? No, but it does match my shirt. Oh, that's hilarious. They have a Me Before You tissues. Look. Oh, Sam Claflin and Amelia Clark on it. Oh, I wish I had this for the movie because I literally just brought a wad of tissues in my purse. How does this open? Bumblebee tights. I mean, I think these are socks. Oh, wait, are these tattoos? If you remember my Me Before You lookbook, I had bumblebee leggings. They didn't fit because they were child's. Now I have cute socks. Next, we have a squished poster. This is a Me Before You. Oh shit, I just ripped it. Look at them, guys. This casting was the best. Like the greatest casting ever. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, oh, it says Just Live on it. I haven't even talked about the book yet and like how it made me cry, but this is already making me cry. Oh, cool! It's a charger from Penguin Teen. It's a Penguin Teen charger. Remember when I made that video about like the 5 life rules that fangirls need to live by? And I talked about having a portable charger, and I haven't needed one in a while because I have a really good phone, but I think I will need one for Comic-Con coming up because these are a lifesaver. They also gave me free movie tickets. I don't know how this works. Yeah, I'm gonna go see Me Before You again because it was just a lovely viewing experience. They sent me 3 books. So I have Saint Anything by Sarah Dessen. I love Sarah Dessen. I haven't read one of her books since I was a teenager. I really wanted to pick this up when it came out. I was a Sarah Dessen fanatic. Like, I've read every single one of her books. I can't wait to read this. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is weird. I also have I'll Give You the Sun, but this isn't like the real cover. This is like, there's a quote on the cover. I'm so confused. The cover's on the inside. We were all heading for each other on a collision course no matter what. Maybe some people are just meant to be in the same story. And then we have the Me Before You book. Apparently these 2 books are gonna make you cry. I know this one made me cry for sure. I heard about Me Before You probably over a year ago. I put off reading this until I actually saw the movie trailer and I'm like, holy shit, I need to read this book. I'm so glad I did. I read this in the right time. I read it when I wanted to feel the feels, like feel the crying feels. I walk to and from work, so I was reading this like on my way to work and on my way home from work. This book took over my life for like 3 days. I didn't know it was going to be sad. Christine actually read this weeks before I did and she didn't cry in the book. So I'm like, okay, if she didn't cry, I'm not gonna cry. It was detrimental. I was not expecting it. and it just like happened. Like the whole book, I'm laughing and I'm having such a good time with the two main characters and seeing how each of them are bettering each other's lives. Oh gosh. I had made the mistake of reading this with a full face of makeup on, and I had never looked so ugly after a crying session before. I took selfies of myself. They're quite lovely. It was one of those cries where like you couldn't actually see because your eyes were so like glassed over with tears. This action started going on and everything was a black mess. I still adore this book. It's one of my now all-time favorites. I cried in the movie, just not as much, but I don't think you could ever top that face. 5 out of 5 fangirl emojis for Me Before You. Yeah, no. I hope you guys enjoyed this little emotional journey with me. I would love to hear some of your book crying stories. Thank you all for watching, and thank you so much Penguin Random House for sponsoring this video and for finally making me talk about books that have made me cry. I'll see you guys all in the future. Keep calm and fangirl on! Bye! Let it go, let the tears flow easily. That doesn't make sense.
Hey, Natasha,
Oops.
I know it's here somewhere. Where are you? Dear John, where are you? Oh, there you are.